This is John Murillo,
and Nicole Sealey.
and we're coming to you from our couch in East Flatbush, Brooklyn. And Nicole will be reading to you How to Write by Anne Waldman from the Paris Review.
How to write. Perhaps I'm kidding myself about the life I lead. Sometimes I feel I'm dying, like a lot of things I see around me. Then I turn on the TV and understand that everything must still be moving. Music, for example. And I rush outside, around the corner to a concert. It's so easy. Everything accessible from where I happen to live at the moment. Things like rock concerts, not too many trees on 2nd Avenue. Once on the 6th Avenue bus, I got a sudden sensation I had been alive before, that I was a man at some other time traveling. You would think this strange if you were a woman. If I were a man right now, I'd be getting out of the draft, but I think I'd want to be a poet too. Which simply means alive, awake, and digging everything. Even that which makes me sick and want to die. I don't really, you know. I just don't want to be conscious sometimes because when you're conscious in the ordinary way, you have to think about yourself a lot. Dull thoughts like, what am I doing? Uptown in a large crowd, I want to sit down and cry because everything is simple and complicated all at once. Everyone has this feeling, even people downtown. It is very basic to the way we are, which is why I can say we. A lot of drugs can change you if you want, because you too are made of what drugs are made of. In fact, you are just a bundle of drugs. When you come right down to it, I don't want to go into it, but you'll see what I mean when you catch on. That's not meant to sound snotty. I'm open to whatever comes along. This is the feeling I get before I take a plane. Then everything's the same afterward anyway. All into one space, and here I am again, alive still, same worries on my mind. The thing is, don't worry. You are doing what you have to, what you can. You hear from your friends. They let you know what's happening in California, Iowa, Vermont, and other places about the globe. They take you out of your little room, just like the newspapers or the news or the man you live with, and put you in a much larger room, one in which you are in constant motion around the clock.
That's great.
What do we think?
We think it's great.
What do you think?
One of the things I like most about it, I think, is the immediacy and the conversational tone of the voice. It feels pretty contemporary. It was written in 1968, or at least that's when it was published, but it feels like something that could have been written today. So that's one thing that sticks out to me about the poem.
Yeah. I love the way we enter into the poem. Perhaps I'm kidding myself about the life I lead. It feels like the speaker and the reader was in a conversation prior to the poem, which lends itself to an immediate intimacy that I think I enjoy about the poem.
Yeah, and it's really vulnerable too. It reminds me, there's a line in Pablo Neruda, "The smell of barbershops makes me sad." And something about, what was it? The part about wanting, uptown in a large crowd, I want to sit down and cry because everything is simple and complicated all at once. It's pitch perfect, right? It's nothing purple, nothing dressed up about the language. It's just doing what needs to be done.
I love too how the speaker centers themselves, but also checks that centering. And then begins to think outwardly at the poem's end.
Yeah, Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, what else? Also, just looking at how it sits on a page, um, the lines don't seem to be governed by any static notion of what the stanza should be, right? You have couplets, you have these single line stanzas, and
No punctuation.
no punctuation, and yet it also feels very deliberate, right? Like there's nothing left to chance, nothing is just kind of cast off haphazardly. Everything seems to be done very carefully, and the way that the space is used also kind of lends silences to the poem and give you a chance to just kind of take it slowly and reflect on it as you go. What do you think about the title, How to Write? How do you think that connects with the text of the poem?
I don't know. I've been trying to figure that out. But I think like everything that's happening in the poem, it seems to be like just general thoughts one might have before bed. And so how to write might be one of those general thoughts.
Yeah. I like that too. Again, I keep going back to this idea of the conversational and even sometimes colloquial tone, right? You get words like digging, right? I want to be a poet, which means being alive, awake, and digging everything. Mm-hmm. And then you'll see what I mean when you catch on. That's not meant to sound snotty. So, it's not meant to fly above anyone's head, right? It's meant to connect, and it does, right? All these years later. Mm-hmm. And then I'm also thinking about just what this year and change has been, right? And this sense of being in a room and trying to understand everything that's going on outside of that room and feeling connected and disconnected simultaneously. Mm-hmm. I think she captured that beautifully. And it kind of gives you solace because this is something that a lot of people have been feeling of late, but someone was feeling this in 1968 mm-hmm. and lived through that, which makes you think that maybe you too can live through it.
I like the idea of her not wanting to, of the speaker not wanting to sound snotty, mm-hmm. not wanting to think of themselves as above or beyond the reader of the poem. Mm-hmm. And I think she does, the speaker does this, Waldman does this with that line about the we.
Yeah.
Where is that?
Yeah.
Oh, it is very basic to the way we are, which is why I can say we. I think she's really, Waldman and the speaker, they're thinking about being alone in the we, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Being a single person, an individual inside a collective.
Inside a collective, yeah. Yeah, and then these next few lines, right, about the drugs. A lot of drugs can change you if you want because you too are made of what drugs are made of. In fact, you're just a bundle of drugs when you come right down to it. Like I don't know if that's true or not. Probably mm-hmm. isn't, but she said it with such confidence that you
believe
it.
Her.
Yeah, exactly. At least for the moment.
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful poem.
Check it out.
Yeah, if you guys haven't, it's at the Paris Review, and it's called How to Write by Anne Waldman.
Thank you for listening. Stay safe. Be well.
Yes. Ciao.